Hi, family, friends from Goshen, Elkhart, all the surrounding areas. I am Magdiel Santiago. This is the Goshen Chronicles. Today, I have Cherish Patterson from Braving Connections. And we've been talking for a while, and I'm
Yeah.
really enjoying it. I always think that we should be recording these pre-interview conversations
Right.
because they seem to be more relaxed and real. But
Yeah.
anyway,
I get
welcome
that.
to the Goshen Chronicles.
Thank you for having me. I'm really appreciative.
And if I may say how we got connected,
Yes,
I
please.
received an email or actually a message through Facebook. One of member of your organization, Braving Connections,
Hmm.
and he invited me to come this 24th for the very first gathering of Braving Connections, in which my brother Jonathan from Indianapolis, that lives in
Yes.
Indianapolis, is going to be coming and having a conversation. He wrote a book,
Yeah.
and so I sent a message to my brother because he didn't message me. I'm like,
He didn't tell
he
you.
didn't tell me that. I'm
Oh,
like,
snap.
what are you doing? I have to find out you're coming to Elkhart, and you didn't tell me. But and that is just an example, right? But
Right.
how we're connected, how the
Yes.
community is connected, and at the same time, I could have my brother. I text him all the time, but he missed telling me that, right? But
Right.
the community makes sure that we're connected.
Absolutely.
So Braving Connections, tell us a little bit about what it is, how it came to be,
Sure.
and most importantly, why you're doing it.
Okay. So it started with three friends from a book club. We were having breakfast one morning and we were really trying to hash out the magic that we share with one another, because we're centered with growth. We're centered with finding likeness and community and bonding people and bringing people together. And we had this crazy idea for an event where we would showcase and highlight specific people from our community that were diverse. We're talking all ages, all races, all religions, all backgrounds and experiences. Because what we want to do is we want the people in our community to see these others sharing their stories and then draw the hope and the inspiration from them. Because in this day and age of digital connection, the physical connection is missing.
Yeah,
So,
agreed. And if I may add to that, and I was mentioning this before, the the current state in our country is so polarized, left and right, and up and down.
mhm,
And I think that what you're doing is extremely important to not lose the sense of community.
correct.
Be able to be on the same place, though we might think differently, have different religious views, still connect
Mm,
and be willing to listen to the other person's story.
mhm.
And I think, I believe it's Malcolm Gladwell that wrote about how humans we connect to stories and remember more about the stories than just data.
Yes, it's
And
so true. Scientifically, it's proven that when you hear a story in person versus you hear a story digitally or recorded, your brain lights up in different places. So I mean, it's factual. When you are physically in the space with somebody telling a story, you will light up more portions of your brain and you will remember more from it.
yes, and also looking back at civilization, how information was passed from generation to generation.
Right.
It was always a personal connection,
Yeah.
listening to the elders or the religious leaders or the leaders of the tribe, just
Yep.
telling the stories, and those were passed down to.
So it's really funny you say that because sometimes when I think about what we're doing, I think about we're kind of like stripping away the things, like we're stripping away the computer and the phone. We're getting back to a time when
Yes.
civilizations used to come together
Yeah.
and they used to sit around the fire and they used
Yeah.
to share their stories, or they would, you listen to women talk about being in the kitchen and the relationships that are built just cooking in the kitchen, and that's a huge part of what we're missing
Yeah.
in our society. So if this is one way we can fabricate that old school, old timey kind of community gathering that will expose everybody to a different way of thinking, then that's the seed we're planting. That's what we want.
Yeah. I just got a real thought, a realization that we need to rebuild our tribe.
Yeah.
And our tribe looks different. Before, we used to associate each other by the color of our skin, by the religious mindsets, and we kind of segregated.
Yeah.
But we need to learn to adjust to the new tribe.
Agreed.
People that think different. I have gained so much by listening to people that think different than I do, and by challenging my own biases
Mm.
And man, that's an exercise that puts a little stress sometimes, but it's necessary.
It really is. So there's a great book called How Minds Change, and one of the biggest takeaways from me from that book is minds change by having conversation.
Mm,
Minds change by finding that small window that you are willing to listen and then expanding on it from somebody else. And then it's the empathy of listening. Like, even if we did not agree, it's my understanding and empathy for you that allows my brain to shift. And me listening to you and having empathy allows your mind to shift.
huh.
So without having that human connection, without having those communications, that community where it is diverse with different backgrounds, if you can't find those pockets of connection in order to grow, then you miss out.
Yeah, interesting. So we are inviting people more than just attending to the event on the 24th. Could you let's just take
Sure.
care of that? Tell us where this is going to take place,
Sure.
what time, all the
Yep. It's
necessary.
at the Lenox in downtown Elkhart.
Okay.
There will be, the doors will open at 7. The event will start at 7:30. If you go to bravingconnection.org, there is a link there that will take you to tickets. Or if you just do /events with the website, that will take you there as well. So that evening, it will be music. There'll be performers.
Oh, good.
There'll be storytellers. So we have 10 different stories that will be told. And again, they are so varied, but each one will touch you in a way. It will literally inspire you and ignite you. And then we also have a local artist who will be displaying some of our artwork, because we know a lot of people connect via different mediums, and art is one of those things that pulls something out of people.
Excellent. Other than these gatherings, do you meet every so often to kind of share stories or?
So we hosted a writer's workshop last
Okay.
month for people that were interested in telling their story, but maybe not quite sure how to do it. We brought in Kristen Baker from Elkhart High School. She's
Okay.
an amazing teacher, just beautiful person. And she sat with a room full of people and expressed to them different ways to tell their story and how to share, basically, whether they thought they had a story or not. Because I'm telling you what, as many times as we have talked about this organization, everybody says, I don't have a story.
Oh, that's not true.
Oh, everybody has a story.
Yes, I've learned that
Everybody
interviewing
has
people.
a story.
Yeah, I have interviewed I don't know how many hundreds of people here, and if you're curious and ask the right questions, then you can see a beautiful story in every human. That's amazing.
It is
It
amazing.
is amazing that we all have this, coincidence, sometimes miracles, things that we can't explain, but yet that took us here.
Yeah.
And I think that's my philosophy that we can define life by our stories and what we do with what happens to us, what we decide to do. But it
Amen.
is sometimes it's difficult to communicate that to people because we get stuck in our problems. Sometimes we get stuck in stages.
Yeah, in loops.
Yes, and it takes sometimes another person to help you see. And that's what I think this is so interesting because if we are accepting the challenge to listen to each other, to sit with somebody else that thinks different, or just to listen to their story,
Right.
we're already halfway there,
Yeah,
right?
it's true statement. It's so true. And again, it going back to like the cooking thing. Like, this is an event that we want to plant the seed in order for people to then take it and do other things with. Whether they find the power to go out and get involved with the things that other people are building in their community, or let's say they just, even in their own corner of the world, start, say, a cooking club or a crochet club. Because whether you're trying to change the world or not, you're building community through
You're
that.
right.
You could be sitting around crocheting and or cooking or wood working, and you're still having conversations and you're sharing in ways that you wouldn't have had you not put yourself in the situation.
Yeah,
So
that's amazing.
I love that.
So the 24th is a Saturday, right?
Yes, sir.
7 p.m.
Yep.
at the Lenox
The Lenox downtown, right
downtown.
across the street from Hotman's and McDonald's. So it used to be a bank, and they've redone it, and it's a gorgeous,
Okay.
gorgeous space.
Can you give us a glimpse of what kind of stories are we going to be hearing?
Okay, so we have two sisters that are entrepreneurs, each of them in their own businesses, and so they kind of talk about their life and what drew them to being entrepreneurs. We have another woman who has written a living eulogy for her father,
Mm,
and it's very touching, and her point is I think something we all need to hear is you need to tell people in the living years
yeah.
instead of waiting.
Yeah.
We have your brother
Yeah.
who's speaking about his history and his experience with speaking and growing. It's very touching. And I think he'll also be playing the saxophone, is what
Yeah.
I've heard,
Yeah.
which is
He
amazing.
texted me this morning. It's my grandfather's saxophone, which,
Really?
yeah, I have kept for many years. And yeah.
That's fabulous.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, we have another a gentleman that's talking about, being a failure and how he brought himself out of that. I mean, each story that is being presented is much like you just said, like it's how people are going through life and you get to make the decision
Yeah.
on how you go forward.
Yeah.
We could have a multitude of things happen to us. Do you wallow or do you shake it off and find a path forward? Do
Yeah.
you grow?
Yeah. I heard one time that we would live different if we understood that our life is like a book being written.
Right.
So once you look at the whole story, right, and then you realize this moment can't be the end of the story. It
No.
can't. It can't. It can't be the end. So
Right.
we got to make it beautiful. We have to make it, and you choose, right? So
Yes.
I always go back to that question: what is life? Why do we do what we do? I mean, we touched on that today. Again, politics have divided us. We have these electronics on our hand all the time. We're sitting next to somebody. We don't do conversations anymore like we used to,
Right.
right? We're always on our phones. Now they have these goggles that you're gonna be
You can
trapped
pretend.
in your own reality, right? And it's like,
Right.
man, where's community? Where's like, what is this life?
Right.
And do we just let it just take us there, or do we say no? I'm gonna willingly walk the other way and meet with
Right.
somebody else and have coffee with that person.
It's so true. And I think, why we called it Braving Connection. It is scary
Yeah,
to put yourself out there
yeah,
because you don't know if you're going to be received or not. But at the end of the day, everybody just wants to be seen and valued.
yeah,
So the best way to do that is to see and value others
yeah,
because it will come right back to you. It's
yeah.
so reciprocal.
Yeah, for artists, I think most of them don't want to be famous. They just want to be discovered.
Yeah.
We don't want to be, you know,
True.
yeah, we want to be discovered. I want to be discovered, right?
Right.
So,
Because fame is very empty,
right,
but
it
but
is.
being known, being worthy
Yeah,
and feeling worthy is more important.
yeah. I think it goes back to that. What is life? I think life is acknowledging each other and seeing each other eye to eyes,
Yep.
and you're like, hey, there's another fellow human being. I am here.
Right.
I see you.
Right. And how can you grow and how can I help you grow and how
Yeah,
can we help each other do this thing
yeah,
together
yeah,
and make it better?
yeah. Yeah, the rest is not really relevant, things, material things, all that is going to stay here. But what do you take with you? The story. You leave
Right.
your story behind.
Yes.
So,
Or you leave that story for somebody to read and grow
yeah,
and create better. Like
yeah,
when you know better, you do better.
yeah. When I hope my brother touches on my grandfather. So we didn't spend much time with our grandfather because our parents moved us to Mexico City.
Okay.
But the most important, most beautiful thing that we have about our grandfather is his story. He was an
Right.
orphan. When he was born, his mother died. He became an orphan. Started, going around. He married the first woman, and she died when she became when she gave birth.
Uh-huh.
He had a horrible life. Became an alcoholic, and one day he met my grandma. Anyway, so he became a pastor,
Oh,
and he became a businessman, successful businessman. He was a man of values, and man. So our story, that story. I
talk about
mean,
your story not being written.
right,
Right?
right. So it's like, if my grandfather went through all of that, and when I get to my low points in life, I have so many things here in my office that reminds me of those stories. I have
Mm,
little things that can just make the connection. I'm like, no, if my grandfather made it through all of that and he ended up here, I can do it too.
yeah.
Right. And that's
Yeah.
the power of
It
stories.
is.
Yeah.
And just being grateful,
Yeah.
because sometimes the story doesn't impact you or it doesn't speak to you in the way that you think it does. But I believe that sense of gratitude
Yeah.
will propel you.
Yeah.
Just
I think being grateful is being translates to being happy. You cannot be happy if you're not thankful.
friend. I
Yeah.
I put that in a speech once.
Yeah. Oh, did
It's
you?
so true.
It
Yes.
is.
Yes, when you are grateful, sadness does not exist.
Yeah.
You're just content, you're happy.
And um, I see that the creator, because I'm a believer in the creator, has given that access to happiness to everybody,
Mm,
and that only comes through thankfulness.
yeah.
And so, anyway, as you can tell,
Love that. Love it.
I love these subjects. I am a people person. We talked about the Enneagram. We're not gonna get into that,
Right.
but
We could be here for hours on
yeah,
that.
it could be hours here. But let's remind our audience about the events.
Sure.
And could you please do that?
Absolutely. So it will be this Saturday, the 24th at the Lenox in downtown Elkhart. You can get tickets at www.bravingconnection.org/event, or you could also get on any of our social sites like Instagram or Facebook, and you can get directly linked to our site to buy tickets. And there's also an event on Facebook you could go to as well. And we just want to pack the house, and we want to get people involved and plugged into what's going on around them.
Excellent. Cherish, thank you so much for this great conversation. I
It's
hope
been
it's not the
wonderful.
last time that you come to our studio here.
Absolutely not. Come
And
back anytime.
I'll tell you something that comes to mind. We need to capture these stories and then just spread them everywhere, because
Yes.
that will inspire people. We talked about inspiration and what it does to people. It just makes a light turn on, and then you can see life different when you listen to other people's stories.
It is. It's electric.
Yes. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
So, our audience, there you go. We have a challenge. You want to build community? You want to help us build community? You want to take the risk of meeting people? Do you want to be brave enough to come and listen to the stories and learn from them and maybe share your story? Well, we have an agency, a group, a non-for-profit that is willing to help you write your story, or tell your story. But anyway, I invite you to share this content. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't done so. And I'm sure that you will find value. So I will personally be there as well on the 24th. My brother's going to be presenting, so I can't miss that. But I will see you there if you go this Saturday, the 24th at 7 at the Linux. And again, my dear Santiago, this is the Goshen Chronicles. I thank you so much for listening and for sharing. Have a great day. See you next time. Ciao.
When you live with moderate